I smell like total butt. And we're live on the Meta Lab. It's Monday. Why not smile on a Monday and talk Heroclix, right?
Absolutely.
So thanks to those of you who joined us on the pre-show game. That was an exciting time. And Jay, as always, thoroughly stomped my building and my teaming and whatnot. He's, these young people, they got these good minds, these creative minds, and whatnot. So, with that said, we are brought to you in part by HCRealms.com. While you're checking out HCRealms.com, always check out the Unit 6. It's one of the most in-depth databases of HeroClix figures out there. Check out the forums, lots of conversations going on, and while you're there, click the shop button. There's some awesome HeroClix gear that you can get at HCRealms.com. Or if you want to go directly to the shop, go to realmsgaming.com. And while you're there, in the shop section, put in coupon code MARRIED for 10% off your purchase, and that goes towards supporting the channel. As well, we're brought to you in part by HCAtlas.com, the home of the monthly map subscription. This month is running out of time, actually, to get your hands on the Exploratorium, which should go out the next month. So it's the 25th. You have until the 31st to get that out there. And then, of course, last month was the Nashville Zombie Apocalypse match, which we can't wait to see in our mailbox shortly. We are also brought to you in part by Majestic CCG, and I want to take a second to let Tom talk about his little trip to California this past week.
Well, I just wanted to take a moment to thank the hospitality of Patrick and Kevin and everybody at Majestic's CCG. I was down in California on a conference for work, but I had an extra evening, free evening before the conference started, and they were kind enough to take me in and participate in a cool little tournament, played a little impromptu sealed game with some packs that we got, and then hung out afterwards, and it was just great. So, I mean, I don't want to. I have nothing really clever or insightful to say besides the fact that they've got a great shop there. So if you ever happen to go there, it's a HeroClixer's paradise. They have everything you could possibly want, and they're really a bunch of welcoming dudes. And from the other side of the country, I just want to say thanks for inviting me to yours.
All right, and if you want to help support us through Majestics, go to majesticccg.com/apex-insiders. Subscribe to the premium site, and as they get more and more subscribers, more and more things will be coming our way. There's lots of awesome articles written by high-level players. Occasionally there's free articles, including tournament updates, I believe, are part of the free content. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but they are the quickest with tournament updates, which is one of the things we got to cover on the show today as it is. But without further ado, I want to say thank you, Mike and Tom, for joining us. And thank you, Jay, for joining us. And then this is probably going to be the last time you see my face for a little while, because we have a ton of previews to talk about this week with the world's finest set on the way. So we're primarily going to talk about the ones that we've seen on Heroclix.com and Figures.com. We will talk briefly about mentions that came from the Scott Porter unboxings that have been daily on weekdays. Check out WizKid's Facebook or WizKid's YouTube channel to see those as they're going. But in the meantime, let's start with the lovely lady that made Amber super excited, one of Amber's favorite characters in HeroClix, and she's not here to squee in the background because she's at work, but we have Poison Ivy. Now, this is the main Poison Ivy, the 007A. Notice there's an A, there's more to go on later. She comes with the keywords Arkham Asylum, Scientist, Secret Society, Supervillains. She ignores hindering for movement. She's got a trait where she can use Smoke Cloud as if she had a range of 6. Opposing characters occupying squares with these Smoke Cloud markers must break away if not already required to do so. If those characters fail a roll to break away after actions resolve, give them an action token. If you can't, deal them 1 penetrating damage. Outside of that, what you see is what you get on the powers. You can get all those from the PAC. She also comes with the Batman enemy team ability. I'm going to let Jay take the lead on Miss Poison Ivy.
She's She's just
All right.
No mind control. She doesn't have range. She doesn't really do anything. The Smoke Cloud's okay. She's too expensive to be Harley Quinn's pudding at full points, and that's my favorite point that I'd run her at, and I'm kind of
All right.
She's not terrible, but she's not really that wonderful either.
Okay. Mike.
Tom. Much the same, really. I kind of wish she had sidestep, and the reason why I wish she had sidestep is because she could then potentially use her Smoke Cloud to lock somebody down, then sidestep next to them with poison. As it is, poison already is locking people down, and then you put down a smoke cloud. Is the only time that's a benefit is if you have somebody who ignores characters for movement. They would still have to break away because the smoke cloud is not, a character. But that's a pretty specific example. If she just had a little touch of sidestep on there, then it would actually allow those two powers to work in conjunction, and there'd be a little bit more to it. And that plus your perplex, you'd barely notice the fact that you aren't really making any attacks because she has pretty lousy attack values. Now, I know she's got Batman enemy, and that can come in handy, but we just don't need more Batman enemies with bad attack values. We need ones with good attack values to help the ones that have bad ones. And so it's funny how the absence of one little power, in my opinion, can make such a big difference, but it really does. And the fact that it's not front-loaded mind control, again, she's protected by stealth, but she's got to push onto it, or she's not likely going to see it in most games. And honestly, for 65 points, she's not a terrible little addition to a team, but I don't feel she's doing enough to justify not putting someone else who could be better for 65 points.
All right.
Like Harley, exactly.
I like 65 points of Perplex and Forced Breakaway with Smoke Cloud. I do like that. And then, obviously, with the penetrating damage that happens if they fail that roll, and you can perplex them in, or you can prob them into a fail with another character. But overall, not my pick, really. Yeah.
Yeah, this to me looks like if you have a space and you didn't pull a Blue Beetle or Booster Gold, she kind of fills in that extra space that has the Perplex or that power that we're looking for. I don't know if you've seen a great deal of wild cards in this set yet, so if I'm just going off of memory, I'm not 100% sure, but if there is a wild card character with a decent enough attack to maybe help her out, you might see some action from that, but for the most part, this is mostly a constructed passover. A sealed maybe because Perplex is 100 times better in sealed than in most other environments, and of course, poison is pretty okay in sealed. So I wouldn't poo-poo her immediately, but it's in a situation where there's better characters in the set that we've already seen in the common slot as well that kind of make her on the ick meter. But with that said, let's talk about Poison Ivy! The Poison Ivy Prime. This one comes in with significantly more keywords. She comes in with Arkham Asylum, Gotham City Sirens, Injustice Gang, Metropolis, Scientist, and the Secret Society supervillains. She also ignores hindering for movement. And she's got this trait: no man can resist me, not even Superman. Poison Ivy can use mind control. When she uses mind control, she is not dealt unavoidable damage from using it, and places an enthralled token on the card of hit opposing characters if they do not already have one. Now, it's all hit characters. She does have two lightning bolts. When she uses mind control and targets a single opposing character within 3 squares, modify her attack value by +2. She comes in with a special defense power. Poison Ivy can use won't let anything happen to me. Poison Ivy can use super senses. When Poison Ivy is targeted by an attack, you may remove her enthralled token from an opposing character within 6 squares that isn't attacking, and this turn Poison Ivy may use a standard defense power that character can use. She's got a special damage power. Poison Ivy can use Shape Change. Opposing characters with her enthralled tokens cannot target Poison Ivy unless all opposing characters on the map have her enthralled tokens at the beginning of that action. Tom, take the lead on this one.
Much better. I mean, honestly, for 25 points, give me a break. Let's willpower. Willpower alone is worth 10 points or whatever. Traded mind control is a million times better than mind control on the dial. That's to share its dial with stealth. Here, the 10 attack values aren't spectacular, but at least they're solid. They're throughout the dial with the exception of the last 2. So she actually could be not a bad little backstop for a Batman enemy. Not ideally what you want, but it could be better. But let's be honest, so much better protected. Shape Change plus Super Senses is really an outstanding defense. Again, as we've noted, the fact that she has Indomitable keeps her on the attack, and dual target traded mind control that doesn't take feedback damage and places enthralled tokens, which makes her really hard to hit. I mean, come on. Take that and combine it with all the keywords that she's got, with the extra click and outwit towards the back end of the dial. And in what universe is this only 25 more points than the other one? I mean, it's a complete overhaul. A little touch of green makes her a heck of a lot better, much like a lot of green characters.
Green paint and green rim. Jay, you're next, buddy.
She's spectacular. I don't think that's being questioned, unless you're not very smart. She can make an opposing character entirely useless by just giving them mind control action to move next to her, because then they can't attack. They can't target her. They have to be next to her for poison. They can't do anything, and they have to roll breakaway to try to break away and do anything.
Yep.
Defenses are solid enough, and then it's good. It's odd that she has to put the enthrall token, but then she can take a 1 away if she really needs to make sure that not all opposing characters have them, so then that kind of just makes her thing not work. I like that she picks about wit after taking a little bit of damage, so she has something else to do that's awesome. And she doesn't just kind of crumble. She's perfectly solid point values for the points, and she can do respectable-ish damage between the poison and her okay damage values for her points. And yeah, she's just really good. At least she's pretty good, and then constructed she'll probably be even better.
All right, Mike.
I like the 2 clicks of regeneration at the end. It means you're most likely going to land on one and have the opportunity to gain most of your health back, especially since she's not your whole team. She's less than a third, slightly less than a third of your team, so you're probably going to have the opportunity to tie up or TK her out or something to be able to use that. 6% of shape change combination is ridiculous, and it means that you're only going to be able to outwit one of them. As always, she's going to be a little bit weak to Pulse Wave, even with that. Even with that can't be targeted thing, because you can still target with Pulse Wave. Just you couldn't. The difference being that on certain characters it says you can't draw a line of fire. Those guys are immune to Pulse Wave. You can't target her, but you can still draw the lines of fire with her, allowing the area of effect to take place and actually nullify all of her abilities. So she still is weak to Pulse Wave, but that's not really.
That's everybody.
That's like everybody, almost everybody. Yeah. It's not Loki.
He's a con.
Just really, really good compared to the other one. Amazing, but this is also a prime, so it should be amazing.
Yeah. So the way I see this figure, if they were actually going to do something with the watch list on Brother Voodoo, it would look like this. She's a really great character, and this is still a really good source of mind control as a choice of a prime. As well, I like the ability to add +2 to the attack value when I'm targeting a single character, which can really, really change the flow of a game when you're talking about something like Sealed. If you have a lot of people will go for tentpoles in Sealed, and this is a character that can make that can be safe from that tentpole in a lot of different ways. So they're going to be relying on something to back this figure up in a sealed environment. So I don't want to get too deep into that because we are going to be talking in depth. One of the things I do want to mention going in now, once this set is out, we are going to take an entire episode, including the time that we would usually spend on the pre-show game, and talk about the set figure by figure because sealed is an important element of the set because of the opens. So I just want to take a second and announce that we're doing that, and anybody on the show who doesn't know we're doing that, you know now and plan for it. So let's talk about Thead. Thead is the newest element added to the Apocalypse team. He's got Apocalypse, Deity, New Gods, and Scientists as keywords. He's got a trait, Serve the Strongest Leader. At the beginning of the game, the highest point friendly character on the map, not named Thead, becomes his master. When his master damages one or more opposing character and actions resolve, you may remove an action token from Thead. He's got a special defense power. He can use toughness. When he is targeted by an attack and his master is within 7 squares, you may choose to replace his defense value with the printed defense value of his master, and he's got a special damage power. Thead can use Outwit. When he does, after actions resolve, he can use Perplex, targeting the same opposing character. Mike, it's your turn to take the lead on this one.
I actually like it. I think it's great to have more Apocalypse keyworded characters in general. I remember when Steppenwolf came out, I was like, yes, more, cool. But, I mean, there have been, it's him and I believe there's, also...
Big Barda, although
I know Supergirl is going to be Apocalypse too, just considering her sculpt. It's got to have the Apocalypse he would for sure.
So,
Let's see here, outwit, when he does after actions resolve, he's perplex targeting the opposing character. I think he's actually really good support piece. I was thinking of even pairing him, if I had a low point team, pair him with the 20 defense Ant-Man, for instance, at 100 points, and give him that 20 defense from up to 7 squares away. Isn't that how that works? Let me just see here. Yeah. You may choose to replace his defense value. Yeah, so that works fine. So he's a 20 defense, and you can, with the whole token removal aspect of this character, I think he's actually pretty good.
All right.
Scene.
All right, Tom, since you're there.
Yeah, I would echo much the same. I'm gonna get a little word bubble for him and write in "Hey Herc" and attach it to him.
Hey Herc! Hey Herc!
He's a great. This is one of those examples of where I think that the designers are really enjoying themselves, feeling like they're coming up with a really cool way to represent a cowering little minion. Have him defensively weak, but he can hide behind his master to get higher defenses. He on his own, he doesn't have willpower, and he's just kind of toddling around. But when his master leads, he follows by removing tokens. And he's there to basically just back him up with some outwit and perplex to aggravate some enemy so that his master can go and beat some face. I think at 75 points he's a little rich in a 300-point environment to play with anything other than a pretty substantial tentpole to get any real lifespan out of him. And as a support piece, he's solid but not. But I would say unspectacular. Still, fantastic movement with 12 phasing, especially if he can carry his master. And you have the number of different ways that you could get somebody who's a boot mover to carry somebody. He's a good little taxi while he's using outwit and perplex and replacing his defense value and otherwise getting in the way. And as long as he keeps popping tokens off, then he could potentially tax it quite a lot. So yeah, good little piece. I'm not blown away. If we're really just talking sealed, then I'm like, eh. It very much depends on what else you pull, but I'm more in the habit of looking at these previews and imagining where I'm going to play them in the months and years following the immediate sealed future. And in that setting, I can see him getting a little bit of legs.
All right, Jay.
How is anybody not ecstatic about 5 clicks of outwit for 75 points?
Because I haven't spoke yet.
He has 5 clicks of it.
Eh.
And he's also a high movement phasing, high range outwit. So he can basically go anywhere and just outwit something. For 75 points. It's only 75 points, guys.
We'll let you be excited for all of us.
Okay, I will be, because he's awesome.
Just remember, there's 4 of us, Jay, and you're the 3rd one to go, right?
His trait making him potentially able to attack or even just move and reposition for his outwit is awesome. The perplex on top of it is even more awesome to give his master better odds of hitting that character and then just remove a token from him. And he can attack every turn. His defense is meh on initial looking, but depending on what you play with, he can get a better defense. Energy Explosion's good with high range, multiple targets, and then picking up Psychic Blast with his values is really good. And then the second click of Stealth can help him be stealthy if he wants to be, if they don't have stealth busting. I think he'll be very, very good both for sealed. And that is all.
All right. Now, yes, right. It's okay in sealed even without a fully decent master. I mean, if you got a higher point character than him, you can count on at least 17 defense for the most part. Outside of that, yes, it's 5 clicks of outwit, which is amazing, and 2 of them come with perplex to drop some values on the opposing character that you use it on. His values aren't terrible when you look at it. 10 attack with 7 range, 2 targets with energy explosion on the first 2 clicks. Then it goes into psychic blast later on. As well, in Constructed, Apocalypse is making itself known lately, and this character on any team with characters with the Apocalypse keyword, he's got a lot of 18 defenses to go off of, 17 defenses here and there.
19.
Yeah, Steppenwolf alone at 19 fits into a 300-point team with this side with lots of room still to play around and throw some parademons on or something like that, and then a resource. So, keep your eyes open on Apocalypse. It's making moves, and it's going to surprise some people at times if you're not paying attention. Overall, I kind of like this figure, both in constructed, and I like his potential in sealed. This is another character with some late dial regen, which seems to be showing up quite a bit in this set. So something to keep an eye out for. But with that said, that's all WizKids has given us. But WizKids gave some stuff to Figures.com, and they did a huge unboxing, which involved a bunch of characters, and gave us a couple cards. So we got a good look. We have the Batman and the Katana ID cards we get to see. There's Zatara, who got opened in one of the Scott Porter unboxings. In fact, he opened a very similar pack to what I was just looking at there. My mouse decided to go nuts on that one. I don't know why. But yeah, they did an in-depth, and this is at Figures.com. So check them out to see the full in-depth unboxing. But what we're going to talk about from this is the cards that they showed. And the first one we're going to look at is what I've been really looking forward to on the set. Jay, we didn't get our monkey, but we got a monkey, and that is Ms. Yermala. Ms. Yermala comes with the animal, one of my favorite keywords, Brotherhood of Evil, Scientist, and the Secret Society Supervillains keywords. He's got the Ignore Hindering, Ignore Elevated for movement, and he's got a trait, and the Brain. Of course, Ms. Yermala and the Brain are known for being together all the time. Ms. Yermala begins the game with the Brain attached. While the Brain is attached, Ms. Yermala can use Penetrating Psychic Blast and Super Senses. At the beginning of your turn, you may remove Brain and place it adjacent or attach an adjacent friendly Brain. And then he comes with some cool powers, including a special damage power, the Diabolical Brain, and Insidious Simian. Ms. Yermala can use Leadership and Perplex when Ms. Yermala has Brain attached and succeeds with Leadership. He may also remove an action token from himself. Jay, I'm going to let you take the lead because we seem to have lost Mike and Tom for a second, so I'm going to invite them back to the conversation here. Also, we have before we get that, we have the Brain. Brain's card is here. We don't have stats for the Brain, but he comes with a trait. When Brain would be KO'd, you may instead attach him to Ms. Yermala and deal Ms. Yermala 1 unavoidable damage, and his powers on what is obviously a one-click dial are Mind Control, Penetrating Psychic Blast, Super Senses, and Outwit. All right, Jay, sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Am I mistaken in thinking that you could, if you say had a poison or whatever, you could pop off the Brain, use Outwit, use that poison, then pop him back? Is that a thing you can
at the
do?
beginning of your turn, you may remove Brain and place it adjacent or attach an adjacent friendly Brain. I think because of the or clause in there.
It doesn't say once per turn.
At the beginning of your turn. Yeah, it
Well,
doesn't say per turn, but yeah. And then it's like, I'm not 100%. It's going to need a rules clarification. So I'm not sure 100% on whether or not you could both remove it and then bring it back somehow.
I mean, you would only want to do that in an extremely specific scenario of
absolutely, yeah.
Poison or whatever. But who knows? We will see. But that isn't a make or break thing. I really wouldn't be surprised if the Brain had, like, tiny size 10, 17. And
well,
2,
it's not tiny size because if you look at the symbol on the Outwit on the card, that's normal size.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's going to start.
It's probably movement, so that's more of a thing that you would want to do. Pop it off when Mala is pushed, or maybe. Well, I guess you can't carry it because it's standard sized, even. So that's more of a last resort kind of thing that. Attack if you're pushed, your punch are pushed, and you can guarantee that your Brain won't die.
Makes sense.
But with Yermala having traded Psychic Blast and Super Senses because of the Brain is ridiculous, especially when comboed with the Energy Explosion. So you're looking at your Perplex's attack up to a 12, so 12 and 3, dealing 3 to Penetrating Splash is pretty awesome top dial. With the Super Senses, it's very respectable defensively. Stats are good, a lot of Heroclix. The self-leadership is good. You can get your action total up and sealed if you really need to, because a lot of generics, and you can keep your attacking. Very mobile with very good speed values, with the worst being an 8. And then a lot of sidestep, super strength. You talk about your running shot Psychic Blast, and you get super strength for your big damage, and then blades for more potential big damage, so very good damage potential.
Yeah.
A lot of damage output happening. And with traded Super Senses, and I haven't been seeing a lot of Precision Strike so far, so this is going to be quite an annoying thing to have to face against in Sealed.
Yep.
So, yeah, very good piece.
All right.
Hey,
Mike.
guys.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're
Hi.
talking about Ms. Mala and the brain.
Yes, Monsieur Mala.
Before we chat any further on Monsieur Mal and the Brain, did you address why it seems he has Battle Fury that isn't listed on his card? Does he actually have Battle Fury?
This is probably similar to the situation we ran into with the Hank Pym or not the Hank Pym, the Giant Man that has it has Hank Pym's name on it, and but it does have Battle Fury on the dial, but not on the card. The power, if it's a standard power, it generally doesn't have to be on the card for
Dial
it to be there. Dial, in this case, this is one of those cases where dial is going to trump the card.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
I thought it should be addressed. Go ahead, Nick.
What about the brain itself? Does it have combat values? Because it has.
We haven't seen them, but it's going to have like a one-click dial with combat values, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's going to be on,
Probably 10 attack or something like that.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah. I like it. I think it's a little bit pricey. I'd love to play with it a little before I give it like final judgment. In sealed, it's probably not bad. The idea that you get super senses and psychic blast when the brain is attached, it's basically penetrating energy explosion, so that's pretty awesome. The idea of the brain never really dying, and if you choose that, right, would be KO. Yeah, you may instead attach him to. So you can KO the brain if you want to keep him at top dial, but you can also choose to keep it around and give him 1 damage. I like that. A little bit of perplex part way along, and oh yeah, actually 4 clicks in a row. I love leadership. I love self-leadership. It's one of my more favorite powers. What was it? This Superman? Oh, not Superman. Captain America with the self-leadership. Yeah, really cool. Awesome. Yeah, very neat. And I love characters that actually have these little detachable, reattachable pogs. Yeah.
All right, Tom?
Good piece. I like the fact, even though we haven't seen the brain yet, it's fair to say it's a one-click dial. I like the fact that he's got the mind control there so that if used strategically, you can take feedback damage to KO him, put him back on Mr. Mala, and basically never go without the super sensitive psychic blast and still have the ability to use it aggressively as long as your mind control is hitting. I think that's really neat. Other than that, I feel like I would play it safe and keep the brain on most of the time, really. Psychic blast and super sense is pretty awesome, and to be fair, he's not defensively great for 150 points. His values are okay. 1 click of invulnerability, giving way to some toughness and combat reflexes on a not super deep dial, doesn't inspire me with a ton of confidence in his staying power. The super senses is a huge difference maker as far as I'm concerned. But just again, 150 points. He's very good at the aggressive stuff, but not as well stacked from a defensive perspective. Other than that, though, I really like him. I mean, he's got an awful lot going on. He's going to be one of those pieces that if you didn't do your homework, you'll spend the first few minutes explaining so when does the brain come up and what happens? Can I pulse wave the brain? But anyway, I think he's really cool. Again, that's all I really have to say is that I feel like taking the brain off might be a risky move if you're up against some big time hitters, or really anyone who's knocking you off your top click or two. Since again, I mean, you can use your perplex defensively, but it is set with a lot of mystics. In a lot of cases, he's going to be taking that damage whether he wants to or not. That opening invulnerability is nice to stay on, but it's only for 1 click. So as soon as he takes that mystic's feedback, his value goes down and his reducer goes down, and he's not a super deep dial to begin with. So play it safe. Keep the brain on there unless you can mind control the brain to death to make an epic little moment.
It's almost as though you think it's a figure you couldn't monkey around with. You have to use your brain.
Oh my god. All right, I'm out.
You're forcing it. You're trying too hard.
But yes, I like the character. But yes, Tom does bring out a couple points. It is not an autoplay character. You do have to pay attention to what you're doing with this character, both with it and against it.
Yeah, may I say that if you see a more talented person playing it, then maybe you could ape the way that they deploy.
Oh.
I'm slow. I'm applauding you right now. I know you can't see me on camera, but you earned that, sir. You earned that.
Thank you.
And now that he's completely derailed me, I'm gonna go ahead and you know what? I'm already picturing Ms. Mala and Gorilla Grodd on the same Secret Society supervillains team.
Well, you could do that with Grodd at 100, so that'd be fun.
Exactly. All right, so let's move on to Alloy, the Captain Planet of the Metal Men, if you will. Is basically all the Metal Men stacked together. I think I know it was in Kingdom Come, but I believe they stacked into Alloy to beat Chemo one time, so it's not exclusive to Kingdom Come, if I remember correctly. But this is a giant, indomitable character. Comes in at 3-point values, 275, 200, or 150. Looks like Tom and Mike just lost power. Somebody fixed their house at Terra Hydro. But he's got 2 special powers, one of which is his damage power, and it is Perplex and Shape Change. As well, he's got a stop click at the end, which is on 1 click only, and it is time to go solo. When this click is revealed due to taking damage, stop turning this dial. You may immediately replace Alloy with characters from your sideline that each have a different name. Each have a different name, the Metal Men and Robot keywords, and are 50 points or less. These characters come into the game on their last non-KO click and are placed within 3 squares of the square Alloy last occupied. Place up to a number of these characters depending on the starting line Alloy began the game on. If you place up to 3 if you started on the yellow line, the 150-point line, up to 4 if you start on the blue line, and up to 7 if you're on the red line. If you do not place any, deal 1 Alloy 1 unavoidable damage. Basically, if you get on that stop click and you have no Metal Man on your sideline, he dies because that is on his last click. And this is a full dial, 11-click dial. So, Jay, what do you think of Alloy?
Strong. quite strong and quite impressive. I like that at 275 it's perfectly costed to play with Doc Magnus, who I think we skipped talking about.
No, Doc Magnus is next.
Okay, and then full dial of shape change besides this last stop click is awesome. Really respectable stats, and some of them have perplex too. So for 275 points, you can have a 20 defense, 12 attack still, and then 8 damage with super strength, and still be good for your 20 defense with shape change and invincible. That is scary. Then at 200, what's the click number? 200 leaves you a little more room depending on what you pull, but I would probably want to lean towards the full 275 point dial. And of course, this all depends on how many Metal Men you pull, right? Because if you have a 0, then he just automatically dies once he gets that last click. What else? I think if you manage to pull this and Doc Magnus in the same sealed event and you don't play them together, you must have World's Finest.
Well, I mean, this also eats up a super rare slot, so you also have 2 amazing packs.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're that lucky and you're not playing this thing, you got super duper duper lucky.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, this is a really thick body that it's not unplayable in sealed. Let's look at it, or in constructed. I mean, it's a really big figure. You can play this if you have, especially in constructed when you have a ton of Metal Men probably sitting in your sideline to play out, because they run the gamut of like common to rare in the set, if I remember correctly.
I think there's another, at least one other that's super rare. I can't remember.
Yeah, one or two of them is super rare, but I think the one I'm thinking of is also Alloy. So, but yeah, so they run the gamut of the full values of commonality. So I don't know when Mike and Tom are going to be coming back. So we're going to move on next to his best friend, Doc Magnus. Sorry, I missed the end there. He's got the Metal Men and Scientist keyword. He's got a trait, get Doc to safety. Other friendly characters with the Metal Men keyword don't have their move actions count against your action total, and they may use the carry ability, but only to carry Doc Magnus. I'm going to stop doing that soon, I'm sure. He's got the metallic property trait, creator of the Metal Men. When Doc Magnus is within 3 squares of another friendly character with the Metal Men keyword, he can use sidestep, and when using support, increase the healing by 1. And then what you see is what you get, but it's a pretty self-explanatory dial. It's high attack, support, mastermind in the beginning, and then he's got
willpower in the middle, mastermind at the end. Jay, thoughts on Doc Magnus?
He's definitely more relevant in constructed than he is in sealed, although he still can be good in sealed, but he is now the cheapest support you can get outside of using an indigo battery.
Yep, absolutely.
That is a major thing. Because Moira's going to retire eventually, and she was slightly more expensive, but still. Then you still have the Star Labs tech, but that's not as reliable because of the push, and also there's other things we want to do more. So, yeah. But as far as sealed goes, if you really need that support, it's good. If you can get Metal Men theme, that's really, really, really good. But not necessarily I mean, it's good filler, but not something you're going to want to build around. Also, obviously, because you're only 25 points. But then again, he's a rare, so that's your big major rare. You're probably not in a position.
Yeah, which is one of I want to bring that up now that you mentioned it, is the rare slot is not looking particularly deep in points. I mean, we've seen Mary Marvel is about the highest point one outside of the Demon, who's 100 points, but there's not a lot of great big figures coming out of the rare slot, but I'm also not seeing a ton of huge ones coming out of the uncommon slot, though I'm going to check Ms. Malologist. But yeah, Ms. Mal is a super rare. So that gets cause for concern in the sealed environment, because if you don't have big things in the lower end and you have very small things in the high end, you start to worry about what your build potential is. And now, that's not to take away from Doc Magnus. Doc Magnus is a cool figure, and if you think healing can fit in your team and you have the 25 points, I suggest spending it. If Alloy happens to be one of those figures that you got, by all means, throw him in there. So, but yeah, Doc Magnus just kind of points out that issue with rarity in this set, where it's not particularly strong in the high end right now. So, I want to take a break and show my face.
It's going to be pre-release. It's going to be a little bit worse.
Yeah, and that's, while Mike and Tom are getting things together for their power just came back, so they should be on back shortly. There is something I want to just kind of let everybody know and calm everybody down. The pre-release is basically a lottery. And it's a lottery I won at my store because I happened to pull very, very high point figures and then got past a lot of high point figures on top of that. When you go to the pre-release, this is a chance to look at the set and snuggle up with it, see what's in there, play with some of it, get a chance to get a feel for some of the characters, but don't count on it being like a hyper-competitive, super awesome sealed format. This is not going to be the format that replaces the opens ever. This is a pure luck format, and
while the prizes are really awesome for it, just understand, go into this pre-release saying, I get to see things ahead of time, and that's the key, because these drafts are not going to be fun for some, or, just understand it's a wacky lottery of figures, and somebody is probably going to get huge amounts of figures. But they did add a little balancing element to it, where the rules of it state that the number of actions each player gets in the tournament is actually based on the guy who got stuck with the lowest point value. So if there's a guy with a 200-point team, which is very feasible in some of the packs I've seen in this set, or like less than 300, they get I think it's like up to 250 or something. Amber was saying they say this is a 2-action tournament. Good luck, guys. So be aware of that and make sure your judge is playing with that, just to kind of keep that extra little bit of hope for your team that didn't turn out so big for this pre-release. Mike, Tom, unfortunately you guys missed a chance to, unless you got something you want to say off the cuff about Alloy and Dr. Magnus.
I like Alloy. I like the Metal Man. I want to play some Metal Man. I like the fact that he turns into little baby Metal Man when he gets his stop click, and I think he's one of the 3 sealed nasties in this set. So yeah, Alloy. Woo!
All right, Tom.
Passion.
There are also good pieces.
All right. So now I'm going in a little bit surprised on this next thing that we're going to talk about, and my face is about to disappear again. But there were 3 ROCs recently that we haven't had a chance to talk about. I believe they were all actually this past weekend. Mexico. What's the date on Mexico? I don't have a date on Mexico. It was all 3 of them were this weekend. So I'm going to start with the smallest one, and we're gonna take a couple seconds, talk about the teams, and just this emerging metagame that kind of exists right now. The thing is, before we go into this, Sirach is in a weird place right now where they have this optional format, so there's a lack of consistency in the reporting in some cases. I believe one of these tournaments is playing on the 400 point or Silver Age or the Rock Age format, and then there's one that's playing on the 300 point Modern Age format. So, and I believe it's Modern Limited. Modern Limited. So we're gonna start with the Modern Limited one, which is in Guadalajara, Mexico.
Modern Limited.
So we had 16 players show up in Mexico, and this was a qualifier. So this wasn't a super qualifier. This was just a qualifier, which is just one below a super qualifier. It looks like a lot of people had a lot of fun. And let's go with the top four. We'll start at number 4. Fourth place, Marcel Antonio played a Freddie Freeman, Dr. Fate at 95 points, a John Constantine at 90 points, and brought with him new Timbit Paul, Mount Olympus, and New York City. So, hey, Jay's already fanboying on John Constantine. So, Jay, you go talk about this guy's team.
You stop it.
I did that on purpose, 100% on purpose too, by the way.
Sorry, you said the Super John Constantine, the Fast Forces Fate at 95, and what else?
Freddie Freeman.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yep.
You have a ridiculous amount of awesome support powers with John. You have your primary attacker with Freddy. And Fate does stuff too. How many points did the team add up to?
297.
Aw, just not enough points to run the con, Dr. Fate. That's unfortunate. Enhanced. Special. Oh yeah, then you have Dr. Fate's special reroll, where you can reroll shenanigans, like your Impervious and stuff. That's delightful. I can see why he did well, because you have more than enough prob. You have Perplex at Wit. You have Empower when Freddy runs out of objects, and you have solid attackers. And yeah, I can see why he did good.
All right, Tom.
Yep, I agree. It doesn't seem, unless I'm missing something, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of really specific shenanigansy type stuff going on. You've got some potent support, well, pretty much all support in the case of Constantine. Freddie Freeman can get in there to make the big hit. And Fate's got a lot of options considering he starts with that helmet and is very not likely to drop it. There we go. It doesn't seem like a team based on trickery. It seems like a team based on solid characters doing solid things and having a potent supporter there to make sure that the attacks hit. So, I mean, really, what more do you want?
Okay. Mike?
It's good. I like it. It's simple. It's something that I wouldn't have seen, but it was obviously fated to do well.
Oh, well played, sir. Well played. Just remember, puns are the highest form of humor, Jay. I just want to add that this is a team. This is a mystical team doing mystical things, and does them all well. Except for Freddie Freeman, he's less mystical, more bammy bam. Next up, third place, Wazel Alejandro Oliden Avila. His team was Captain America Black Widow duo, Nick Fury at 102. Nick Fury, Balls of Fury, and Fitz. So, Tom, take the lead. Oh, and he's got maps. Tom, take the lead on this one.
Well, a lot of output. We know that what Nick Fury does, and when you've got Fitz there to support him, as well as Henry for more support, the Nick Fury and Black Widow duo are really quite good. They're good at being sort of all-purpose. They are range capable. They're ready to get up in your face and not die immediately. They're a nice, well-balanced little piece. And if he didn't say anything about whether or not he was using split and merge, but you've got a lot of split and merge options with those two if you're playing them. So, I mean, you don't need to. Again, precision strike, sidestep is always nice, and they've got some good stuff going on with their attack. But if he is going down the dial and you can split and merge and try to heal him back up, and he's got Nick backstopping. Nick backstopping any team is good with theme probs in addition to his own prob. Fitz there to fill in that prob, and Henry there to make it count. It's a potent team.
Yep. Mike?
Duo attack. Bam. The end.
Works with precision strike, and not too many powers do.
Yep.
Or rather, other way around. Everything does with precision strike. Not too many works with duo.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Having enhancement on them and the fact that their special power stops the DDM from duo attack means they're dealing 8 damage. So
It's a very good what we see. Okay.
All right. Yeah,
they're
this
getting
is
a lot of shields, getting Nick's range up.
A lot of this.
yeah, because you got 2 characters with shield next to Nick Fury, puts your range up to 11, and TK if you need to get that that range differential. So yeah, overall very cool team, shield theme team. So you do get a little bit of advantage on the map, and Henry isn't messing it up for you by bringing Fitz out with it. What's up? Huh? So okay. Second place, Jorge Garcia Carrillo. He's got the Super Skrull, the Zombie Super Skrull, Mr. Mix's Pitlick, a Star Labs Tech, Atomica, a Pym Particles, and Maps. Mike, you get the lead on this one.
Oh my goodness! It just looks like a whole hell of a lot of TK attack. Oh, it hurts a lot. Oh my God. Oh, did I miss? There's some prob there. Let's give someone a token, and then I'm gonna choose 1,000,000 powers. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, it's not that complicated, really.
No.
Using Super Scroll, I guess, is a little bit advanced for some people because you do have to track all of his powers if you choose to use all of them, which you should when you can, when it's necessary, because taking that 1 damage doesn't really matter. Yeah, neat.
All right. Mike, or not Mike? Mike just did. Tom.
You can do it again if you want.
No, I think we got the point. Tom.
Ouch. I don't want to face it. I do not want a many pieces. I mean, Super Skrull plus TK is a familiar. My apologies. A familiar sight, and it always hits real hard. Atomica's got some nice little prob there, and Mr. Mix's Pitlick also speaks for himself. This is just a lot of really good pieces. They're great tastes. They taste great together because they all hit you really hard.
Yeah. Hey Tom, replace Mr. Mix's Pitlick with Johnny Quick. Recognize it now?
Yeah.
All right, Jay, your thoughts?
That was my.
I wonder how many times they managed to convert another figure to their side and then have the Star Attack just heal them all the way back up.
Yeah. That's another thought too.
And Super Scroll is actually a really amazing combo because Super Scroll has a lot of rollouts between his ability, defense powers, and just picking straight up shape change. So, a lot of opportunities for rollouts, and hey, if you miss any of them, you can just, because they work, because that's how he is a dick.
Yeah. All right, yeah, and this is a Super Skrull team. We've seen similar builds of it before. Mr. Mix's Pitlick is new tech to add to the Super Skrull. And then, once again, in the limited format, this is Super Skrull making it to the top 2. So he is still a threat. Consider him, guys, when you're building your teams. But let's go to the first place team, last but most certainly not least, Christian Padilla. He's got the Highfather, Engineer, and Krampus.
Oh.
What?
Oh, that's pretty mean.
That is so mean.
Your top point guy can't do anything, and Krampus just walked off with your second top point guy. An Engineer cleans up.
Yep.
You don't need Tachyon every time you play Highfather. Sometimes it's enough to just shenanigans your opponent into
he was there if
into
you
crying. Oh yeah, he's there if you need him. But you don't need him. You can pump up your Krampus between Engineer and Highfather. They can both pump up Krampus to make absolutely darn sure that he's got your second place guy inside of his sack, wanders off away from him, and then Engineer is there to do what Engineer needs to do. Like it's versatility combined with capture, combined with Highfather shutdown. It's just some mean stuff, and I expect there wasn't a dry eye in the place.
All right.
Mike, you said stack. That was gross.
You're gross.
Yeah, it's true.
Don't worry.
All right. Jay, thoughts?
I really hope Krampus doesn't keep his child victims in his sack.
Oh.
And
Speaking of child victims, I want to say hello to the math class that is currently watching us.
You can do things like you can TK yo-yo him back in the starting area. You have 2 probs, you have all the stats. Things.
Yep. And it was also that Isaiah the Father or Isaiah the Creator power have some extra stats on top of that, and those linger too. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and Krampus is definitely going to catch you. Oh boy! All right. So with that said, let's talk in the Catskills. Now the Catskills is using the 400-point Rock Age limited format. And we're going to go with the top 4 because we are on a bit of a time constraint this week, as Mike does have to head out a little early this week. So, in 4th place, playing Exodia, William Alexiou is playing Exodia the Forbidden One. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has made its way into the game.
I don't like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Morphing Jar at 50, Despotellis at 30, Gamma Bomb at 5. I had a feeling we'd see this Exodia in the 400-point format of the Rock Age format. Yep, he's a thing. He is most certainly a thing to see. Jay, what do you talk about this one?
Designers that are watching this, you do know that when somebody is on a countdown click, they're not supposed to be able to do anything. I think that's kind of the point. It doesn't make them stronger. The whole point of Exodia is that he becomes stronger later, not that he is immortal and untouchable, but can still do his shenanigans all the time. Morphing Jar is surprisingly effective and has that awesome trait. Exodia is ridiculous. Although that was, I guess, 250. And what was the third figure?
Morphing Jar. And Despotellis.
No, I already said Morphing Jar. What was the other one?
Black Talon and Despotellis?
Black Talon. Oh yeah, so what you do is Black Talon mind controls a Morphing Jar, and then you switch all of your characters into the other starting areas, but Exodia doesn't get placed. So it's the new version of Chanos. Golden Age only, though. It's gross. Because Exodia can't be placed while he still has the bond markers on his thing, so you switch all character starting areas, which you wouldn't think is a strong effect, but then you have your character who can't be moved, but could then pulse wave or just attack your bond entire team. So that's how that works.
Yep.
It's
all right.
Really gross.
Mike, you want to take next?
That's really not in my comfort zone. I don't like the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff personally, just based on the theminess. It's really not a very meta reason. But yeah, what Jay said probably sounds right. I've never used half of these figures or seen them. I've seen Exodia. I think he's ridiculous and stupid.
You were correct.
And the Morphing Jar is neat. That's a very kind of cool little mechanic that is so niche.
We should probably let's just read off the trait just because people don't know.
I'm pulling it up right now. Go ahead.
Once per game, when Morphing Jar is hit by an attack, after actions resolve, starting with you, each player chooses a friendly character and places it into an opponent's starting area until all characters have been placed. So what you do is you have Black Talon attack it, and then you do the thing, and then Exodia can't be moved. So Exodia sits there while your opponent's pieces all come to you, and you cackle madly.
I can't do a good Yugi impression when he's playing the cards, but you have fallen into my trap card.
It is a really interesting and different team. It's pure shenanigans. So in that way, it's kind of neat.
Yeah. Speaking,
So I don't really get Despotellis being there, but I guess just because.
Despotellis is just Despotellis. Let's not get ourselves.
And he had 30 points. Jay, he had 30 points left over, and Despotellis does penetrating poison. Yeah.
It's like Despotellis is only Despotellis now, since there's no Idara. He's just him.
But he's still
good.
Yeah, Despotellis has always been relevant in pretty much even in the no tactics format. Despotellis was everywhere because he's 30 points of poison.
Yep, he's still awesome.
Yeah, double penetrating poison.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about shenanigans in the third place or the third team there.
I'm excited.
This is Jason Kuhn, one of the few men in the world I look up to because he's taller than me. That's a height thing. But Jason Kuhn played Copycat, 2 of the 65-point Magnetos from Wolverine and the X-Men, Black Talon, Turtle, the Morphing Jar, Blind Owl, the Gamma Bomb.
Can I try?
Gamma Bomb is going to be a thing. You can go ahead first there, Tom.
For those who don't know, Magneto has the ability to do basically free damage with a special power on his second click. In order to get him there most quickly, it will be helpful to be able to push him out by having a turtle around. In order to get him into your opponent's starting area, it would be helpful to have, or blind out for that matter, yeah, good point. It would be, in order to get to your opponent's starting area, it would be helpful to be able to Black Talon your way into a morphing jar. Copycat for even further shenanigans, and a Gale Bomb goes off in their face. I love the idea. In fact, you're right. It is really Blind Owl. I mean, Blind Owl plus Black Talon means you can get both Magnetos where they need to go on turn 1. On turn 2, Black Talon plus Morphing Jar means everybody switches over. Nobody can get back because a turtle and the Gale Bomb's about to go off in their face, and they're raining down free damage upon them. That is a really cool build, I gotta say. Like, I mean, it's shenanigans.
It's pure shenanigans.
It's pure shenanigans, but it's not pure shenanigans that is grounded on figures we see all the time. They're kind of known, overpowered figures. This is kind of digging deep into the long box to come up with a new way of doing something that we've never really seen utilized optimally before, and I think that that's quite admirable. So I think it's neat that he won, or didn't win, but did so well with that really shenanigansy team. I wouldn't want to face it, but I would smile in respect if I did.
All right, Mike, go ahead.
I like the way you move, Jason.
Yeah,
it's good. I like it.
Really good.
And Copycat, nice little icing on the cake. Take out one of their under 100 points nasty biddies. It's good. I like it a lot.
All right, Jay.
Kind of surprised that since WizKids has stopped doing Golden Age Worlds, they seem to have been making more sets since they stopped than before they had it. So, kind of interesting that The Rock had to be the first ones to actually make Golden Age happen. But yeah, this is why I keep up with Yu-Gi-Oh! And don't just laugh at it. Although it is fun to laugh at Yu-Gi-Oh! Players.
Yeah, and this is one of those things that I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments and I started thinking, like, there's going to be some weird interactions with some things that I didn't think of. Like, I didn't think of the Morphing Jar with Black Talon off the top of my head. But I've dealt with Morphing Jar in the past and have realized that it's just obnoxious to deal with already. And then, as I said, in the 400 points, you start getting into shenanigans zone, and then when you allow older things, more and more silliness can occur. And anybody who didn't see this coming, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's allowed to happen, and it's cool that players have come up with these ideas. I'm not going to poo-poo anybody who's come up with these ideas. I'm actually really interested in giving Jason's team a hard try. And, it's one of those things, I don't mind this kind of stuff happening. It's very, very, very neato. But be aware that when you increase the game, the potential for interactions you didn't think of gets so huge. You have to have such a depth of knowledge to prepare for it. So we're going to next go into Kenny's spy team, which is Nick Fury. No, I let you go in, didn't I?
No.
Or did you do your thing where you paused for too long and I thought you were done?
No, I didn't go at all this time. And I almost now. What was I gonna say? You messed me up. I mean, this is very susceptible to copycats, so it's kind of, I would say, very risky because, like, if copycat steals your morphing jar, that kind of just ruins you. And also especially because when you place the Gamma Bomb, you place it near your own starting area because that's where your opponent ends up having to be. But then if you get copycatted and then that's where the thing is, the Gamma Bomb is, it hurts you. So it's like doubly risky.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very
Incidentally, since you mentioned copycat, I'm wondering if he happened to play against his teammate and Team Pushing and Kenny Pena, playing a spy theme team with Nick Fury, Copycat, Captain Marvel Prime, Agent 13, Atomica, Blind Owl, one of the 10-point parademons from, I believe this is from the Justice League strategy game, and Gamma Bomb again. Gee, there's a trend here. Jay, you go ahead and take the lead on this team.
Gamma Bomb.
Gross. Delicious. Spy themes are fun. I think when I was trying to build something similar to this, because Spy is a fun, very good theme now. So, yeah. Big Fury is a big thing. He's terrible. That's what he does. He's especially scary considering how many keywords he has to make really good theme teams with, guarantee that map that he wants. So yeah.
All right, Tom.
Yeah, it's pretty mean. Established great things that go great together again. Captain Marvel Prime. I've certainly said enough about that in my time here. Agent 13 is awesome, and I'm surprised we actually don't see more Agent 13. So it's quite refreshing to see it doing so well in the hands of such a skilled player. Nick Fury, without saying, and Copycat is really working quite nicely in this format. I wonder why it is working so much more in this format. Really, I mean, if ever there were a format that would seem to lend itself to higher point figures, but maybe it is that people just anticipated the kind of Yu-Gi-Oh shenanigans they might see and just got that on there to get around them, since it does seem like it would get around a few of those shenanigan types teams. Other than that, a lot of stuff going on. Gamma Bomb wants you to get across the map. Nick Fury makes you want to regret it. And Captain Marvel Prime makes you so you can't attack. Agent 13 makes it so that you've got nothing to keep yourself together, and then you've got a whole bunch of prob and Copycat to mess them up. A good team and a great player. And themey, no less, so you can really make the most of your map choice, ideally.
All right. Yeah, and I think we've talked about Spy. Spy is one of those emerging keywords that's it's a relatively new keyword, and it's starting to make itself very well known very quickly in this game. I think it started with Phantom. Is Phantom X a Spy? Or am I thinking of Assassin? Oh yeah, okay. Anyway, but yeah, it's a keyword that's really making itself known out there. But I gotta kind of speed things up as we're running low on time.
Yes.
First place,
I think the team is good.
Tom gets to go first.
Woo!
But Brian Santana had a Cosmic Theme team with Black Swan, Nick Fury, 2 Power Rings, a Jogger, Bat Signal. Okay, Tom.
I want, if anybody in the description or whatever can throw into the comments whether or not Black Swan got to pull off her effect, I'll be very jealous if that ever happens, because I've never been able to get it to pull off. But the fact is, Black Swan is a great piece, and you don't need that effect to make her good. Combined with TK, she's phasing across the entire map to hit you really hard. And if you happen to be able to hit her back but not KO her, the Bat Signal's going to pull her right back to where she can sit happily waiting for you to take out the rest of the team en route to absolute domination and victory. Otherwise, Nick Fury is great, and Power Ring is another one that I absolutely love so much. So 2 Power Rings. Oh, 2 Power Rings and a Black Swan. My heart is already swooning. So I'm just so excited. I've played lots of variations of this team to no particular effect in my case. But I'm willing to go for the Nick Fury. That suits me, man. Great.
Oh man, Mike, your internet Skype.
What?
I'm not sure what's going on there, but we're Skyping out and you're in there.
Always has to be.
By now, is it okay?
It's still kind of going on. I'm gonna let Jay take the lead. See if it settles out. Jay, go ahead on the Cosmic team.
I'm surprised, although I have said that I love that Power Ring before. Although 2 seems a bit redundant, but I apparently have no right to comment because it did awesomely. Yeah. And then Black Swan does stuff. You have 3 probs, potentially, and Nick Fury is Nick Fury. What do we need to say about him? I think we're good for things to say about him. He's Nick Fury.
All right.
Bat Signal Black Swan is awesome. I don't know if it's exactly what he was using Bat Signal for, although it wouldn't shock me. Really, Power Ring kills himself, and that's another thing that you like on your Black Swan team. I like it when you're winning even when you're losing.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you used Power Ring against me, actually. Power Ring Black Swan combo.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
several times.
Pretty
actually.
Cool. And yeah, I guess in the final you'd have maybe Copycat take one of the Power Rings, if anything.
That's all you can take.
Yeah. It looks really good.
It's a good take too. Like a really good piece.
I like it. It's really irritating. I can feel that inner rage when I look at it because I don't want to face it, and it makes me mad.
No. This is a very infuriating meta right now. Even in the normal game, and even when you get into this 400-point level where more things are allowed from outside there's tons of Gamma Bombs. I might actually have to get my hands finally on a Gamma Bomb. I didn't even think about that, but I don't want to.
I think George has a couple. I'll get you one.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is excuse me.
this is the look at the first look at the Rock Age Limited, and the next thing we get to see is yet another of the Rock Age from Texas. I believe this is this was the Space Cadets Super Qualifier, won by Josh Ernest, but we're gonna get into that in a second. We're gonna go starting in the 3rd and 4th zone. Zach Coffey's team. This is also 400 points. This is the Rock Silver Age or the Rock Age limited format. So Zach Coffey playing a Phantom X, Dr. Octopus, Dr. Demonicus, Nighthawk Prime, Atomica, and he's got the 3-point engineer, 3-point reporter, Bat Signal, and the Kinetic Accelerator. I don't even remember that one.
Speed or something?
Yeah.
That's way before my time. Like something like, yeah, it's like you're moving.
You're allowed to use that in this format? It's awesome.
I have to double check when that came out because this might be an oversight, but it's Jace. This is everything from Superman on, so basically Oreo base up.
What is it?
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, it basically boosts up your speed when you leave. But I thought that was before Superman.
Yeah,
that's a 0-point special object. Those don't exist anymore. That should be illegal.
Kinetic Accelerator. Kinetic.
That's a crisis.
Yeah. Okay. So this could be an oversight. I'm not sure. I have to look at the format again to be absolutely sure before we start doing things like that. Okay, you look it up, Jay. Tom, talk about the team.
Well, he made a liar out of me for thinking that Doc Ock needs to have somebody boosting up his attack value in order to be effective. I mean, I like that strategy very much, giving Doc Ock a 12 attack. But hey, with 10 attack and 4 attacks with it, and they're not being able to boost up their defenses thanks to Nighthawk Prime, something's going to get through. Also like the fact that, as we pointed out before, you can remove those tokens, then get carried across the field to still make your attacks. One of the rare examples of a no action after carry working with attacks in that way. And so Dr. Demonicus' big dude can just sort of grab Ock by his Ock arms, stroll across the board, and then there's 8 attacks coming at you, or 4 attacks coming at you, rather. Other than that, Phantom X obviously goes without saying, so Phantom X goes along for the ride to do some shooting as well. It's a very aggressive team. Not a lot of sort of pure support powers. I mean, obviously, Nighthawk Prime is helping nullify their high defenses, well, all their high values for that matter. But without it, unless I'm horrendously mistaken, I don't think that's a theme team, and so Atomica is your only source of prob, really. You've got some Perplex with Demonicus. Other than that, then the Kinetic Accelerator does allow you to get across the field in a big hurry. And the nice thing about it is that, again, Kinetic Accelerator on a big Colossal, you really can get across virtually the whole field and make 4 attacks in your opponent's space before they even know it hit them. So that's pretty cool. And Phantom X, obviously, no one plays cleanup quite like him. So I am actually, to be honest with you, a little surprised it did as well as it did with relatively little prob and not outstanding values in and of itself, although decent values. But hey, with Nighthawk Prime, you don't always need those outstanding values. So good team.
All right. Jay, any word on the ruling as far as the objects?
Oh, I wasn't. Oh, I didn't. I was checking that.
I said, Jay, check the ruling. Tom, start. All right, Mike or Jake, you want to take the next one on this team? I'll start looking it up.
No, I got it. Okay.
Mike, go.
It's an exotic team, as you would expect from this format. There's just so many different combinations that you can put together. I like the use of Dr. Octopus, as new as that figure is, considering that you can go way back when you're sourcing these figures. Overall, I love seeing Dr. Demonicus used as well. He's one of my favorite figures from that set. I mean, you've already kind of stated what it does in general.
Yeah. I also should have mentioned that the Bat Signal does allow you to pull that Doc Ock back after he's done that awesome thing, so that the guy who got him across the board is a 0-point Pog. If they take out that Pog, they're not scoring points.
No, exactly.
And with Phantom X staying back in your starting area, and again, the Kinetic Accelerator just sending Pogs across carrying Doc Ock all the time, it does give a lot of opportunities to get attacks without ever leaving yourself in a position to give up points.
It's pretty shenanigan-y. I mean, it's all of the teams that we've seen so far seem to be very, very full of shenanigans. I guess the extra 100 points and the range or the breadth of the actual meta for this it just allows for so much interesting play.
Yeah.
All right.
What's the format? Rock Age?
Yeah, this is a Silver Age or Rock Age.
All sets in all universes, starting with Superman to present. Blah blah blah. It's basically Oreo-based figures, no epic actions or horde tokens. So that was,
Yeah, so there's a slight oversight in the objects on that one. Just guys, keep a heads up if you're checking your sheets on this. It seems the kinetic accelerator and the dynamostat are slightly older than some people seem to think.
I get the impression that maybe that in this case it was allowed for them all. Because when you look at Mike's team above it, he had both the dynamostat and the kinetic accelerator. So I'm guessing that there wasn't an oversight. I'm guessing that it really was just they allowed all objects.
Yeah.
Format.
It is their choice,
Yeah, mistakes are going to happen when you get new formats, and it's been caught, so be aware of it, folks, or etc. So next team.
This chart is that the alternate format is Silver Age, or Silver Age, or 1 point Silver Age Limited, which is all carded figures from DC and Marvel only. So that would be legal then, because that was crazy. But how come we're saying that it's Rock Age when Rock Age was only November, December?
Okay, because this isn't Rock Age. This is listed as Rock Silver Age, so there is a difference.
Okay, so that wasn't perfectly legal.
Yeah.
So we're stupid.
Yeah, we're stupid. That's fair. We're not stupid. We've been mistaken.
I was defending it.
All right, Jay, team, thoughts. Let's go.
A lot of good figures make together Phantom X strong. You have a lot of pogs that do awesome things and attack, and then your Phantom X shoots through one pog, and the other pogs attack. Then your opponent has no stat that are positive, and then they cry, and then win. That's it.
All right, awesome. So the next team, Mike Eskew. He's got the Zombie Super Scroll, Nick Fury, Brother Voodoo, and Despotellus, along with those objects that are legal.
Brother Voodoo wasn't gone very long, was he?
No, he wasn't gone for too long.
It's like they took a bunch of the winning Rock teams of the last several years and just put them through a paper shredder and picked up the pieces that came out most often.
This is the pulp of meta.
Yeah.
It's really neat. It just does everything.
No disrespect, by the way, in that. It's the powerhouse
It's
team.
a neat team. Yeah. Does everything.
It's kind of saying that, some of the old stuff is still a problem or still something to be aware of.
Also,
I had never even heard of the dynamostat or the kinetic accelerator, to be perfectly frank.
it's also easy to do the math on it.
Oh boy. So Jay, anything to go on Mike Eskew's team?
I don't really have many additional thoughts besides Brother Voodoo and Nick Fury together is a horrifying thought, and I will have terrible nightmares.
Yeah.
I poke my pants.
Poke my pants. Yeah, if you're not using Brother Voodoo offensively, you're compelling somebody to say, "Hey, why don't you come talk to my buddy Nick?" Oh boy. All right.
Nightmares,
Oh,
right?
hell no.
So we're kind of just rushing through these guys. I apologize. Next team, James Chris. He's got Phantom X, Thane, Mr. Mix's Pitlick, General Thunderbolt Ross at 55. I do believe that's either the Gravity Feed one or the main.
That is Airstrike, Ross.
That is Gravity Feed Airstrike with a blind owl to get you there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the Gamma Bomb. So we can call this one Scorched Earth, right?
You bet. One-time pulse wave from Thane, many-time pulse wave from Mr. Mix's Pitlick, Phantom X shoots, Thunderbolt Ross calls in an airstrike, a Gamma Bomb goes off, and your opponent cries.
Just light him up.
Yep.
At that point, you may literally light your opponent's figures on fire.
This is Team Napalm.
Yeah.
Team Napalm.
I
Broken Arrow.
love the idea that he brought ranks and played a Gamma Bomb. Just how much hindering terrain do you have?
Disgusting.
That's just gross.
Yeah. And we have a winner, and it is Josh Ernest.
Oh, Josh.
Josh Ernest, he's a great player. He's got Nick Fury, Brother Voodoo, Mr. Mix's Pitlick, GW Bridge, Shield Agent, a Shield Recruit, and he had a Gamma Bomb and Pim Particles.
GW Bridge.
Oh. So
GW Bridge is a spectacular figure, and then he has his awesome trait. So it's about time.
And Gamma Bomb is back.
Holy crap! Is it ever?
Yeah. Hey, anything that makes you want to cross that map to get into Nick Fury's shooting zone is something good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Nick Fury at this point. I mean, we've talked on this show before about the excess of Nick Fury, but boy, there is a lot of him out there.
Yeah. Now, I want to mention everybody that all this information on these rocks came from majesticccg.com/apex-insiders. Join for a premium subscription, and I believe tournament results are often just available on the site without a subscription. Great resource for Heroclix, and it's kind of building up out there. It's not HC Realms, but it's got different types of content as far as that is concerned. With that said, we got to get our way into fan questions, as this week we're trying to cut her a little short. So I'm going to pull those up now, and we're going to start actually with one that pertains to this rock stuff that we were just talking about. I swear I have it here somewhere. Here it is. All right, and that is Chris Stockhouse.
Hey.
Stamp on it. What was everybody's favorite team from the 400-point Silver Age Space Cadet Super Q, and what game element from that same tournament was most surprising? Now, I only looked at the top 4 in depth. I'm taking a second to look at some later ones. Well, all right, Paris Gordon has a huge sideline and a ton of figures on his team, so I'm already in love with it. Oh, okay, so this is that idea I came up with a little while ago, where nothing on the board stays on the board or comes back later. There's a figure factory in there. Oh, I love it. I love it a lot. But overall, I don't know if I'm surprised or shocked, but the Gamma Bomb is a thing to think about in that format now. Both the Rock Age, because I believe there was a Rock Age and there's a Rock Age and a Silver Age that we talked about, and the word Gamma Bomb came up quite frequently. So I'm a little taken aback that I have to deal with that thing again, because I was able to dodge it for so long. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, you've already said the one that's really high in my mind, but also the amount of copycats that we saw was a very common figure there. I kind of anticipated it a little bit, but at the same time, it is 400 points, so I thought maybe it'd be less successful, because we may have ended up with a lot more, higher tenty stuff, or things that are even higher than that would be considered one-man army in other formats. But it looks like my suspicion was correct, and the copycat has made its presence known.
I would also suggest the possibility that copycat figures well into a format that is largely untested up until this point, and so you really don't know what you might see across the table. I mean, copycat is a good general insurance policy when you're going into a format that is so widespread, especially when you bring in Yu-Gi-Oh! And everything, that it's entirely possible you just can't prepare for everything. So you kind of use a catch-all in case there's something that has not had a chance to really surface yet that's otherwise going to take you by surprise. Why not devote 90 points to it? She's not a bad piece to have for 90 points, even if you don't get to use her for something better.
Now, what was that jar thing again, too?
The
morphing jar.
That thing was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite team was Black Swan, and I was really interested by the presence of Black Swan, and I was surprised by the amount of Black Swan there was on the team that won Black Swan.
Now, Tom, you're talking around the issue. Was it the Black Swan team you liked?
Iterate on this. Black Swan. Black Swan, Black Swan. Black Swan.
Correct.
The end.
Okay.
I actually liked the Black Swan team for a different reason, and because it had 2 power rings. He's wonderful, and everybody was making fun of him, but then
I
it
was
was
never.
actually awesome.
Oh my God.
So there you go.
I took back all the things I said about Power Ring because I used them a couple times. So.
Yeah, he's really
It
good.
is really good. Yeah.
All right. So next up, Charles O. Franklin asks, I'm trying to put a Bat Family team together. What would you suggest to be in one? Something with the Bat Family keyword, I'm sure, is going to be good. That's me being sarcastic.
Are we still talking Rock Age? Because that opens it up quite a bit.
I don't. This is why I wanted to stay in the modern meta, because things get so messy and there's so many things we can talk about.
Well, to be fair, in modern, then there actually aren't, in my opinion, a lot of really great options. I mean, is it Cheshire? Is she a bat friend?
I don't think she's Bat Family, no.
No, she's villain.
Okay. I don't know, Jay. You know these things off the top of your head better than most of us.
There's not very much. Agent 37's pretty interesting. There's really not very. I like the Catwoman from Trinity War.
Oh, you know who would be good? Batman.
It's
Yeah, I think you're gonna want to hold off just a little bit until the Batman. You know, Batman. He's
As for that matter, not every Batman has Bat family. I believe that the Chase LE or whatever, not the Chase, but the LE prize one doesn't.
yeah. The Red Rain does not have it. He has Gotham. Yeah. Just wait like 2 days, and we'll find out all Batman dials. So just patience.
Really?
Yeah, wait 2 days. At the moment, if you're talking meta, you only have enough figures out there to basically make your team, let alone have a lot of choice.
Mhm.
Sadly.
Yeah. Now, and if you expand beyond it, you got too much for us to even talk about in a single question. But
Or Get Out.
yeah, Batman of Zernar. There's a. Does he have it?
Yeah, he does. He has.
That's
Batman
cool.
in the Arkham Asylum.
All right, that's awesome. All right, so next up, Donnie Askey asks, "What are your top 3 figures with the Sinister Syndicate keyword?"
I like Speed Demon.
I'm gonna go. Damn it! He took it right from under my nose. Speed
Doc
Demon,
Electro.
Doc Ock. Is Speed Demon, Doc Ock, Mysterio? I'm bored.
You said 11 before, but I guess that was because the unit section doesn't.
What about Constrictor? Come on.
What?
What about Constrictor? Come
Does he
on.
have it, or does he just have the team ability?
He has initiative. That means you have to like him.
He takes initiative.
Let's talk about initiative for a second. They're my old new warriors.
I like the Zombie Electro. I like Mysterio, and I like Sandman because he made rules have to change. That's amazing. He deserves a note just for that.
I would say that again, if we're talking modern, it's not a big pool. I like that new Doc Ock a lot. I like Speed Demon from the perspective of him being a really awesome piece. I don't actually like him really, but I respect his power. And I like Sandman well enough. He's not fantastic, but I feel like we can make use of him.
Zombie Electro.
Full set problem where the more of a joking character was, the more powerful they were. So.
Zombie Electro.
Yeah, that's what Jay said, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's right. And the team abilities are both pretty good.
Yep.
Or ATAs,
ATAs,
rather.
yeah.
All right.
And Venom. Don't forget Venom.
Yeah.
Good old Venom with Defend.
Yeah. I wish if I was to dig Golden, I'd say like half of Amazing Spider-Man.
Well, to be honest, again, if we're talking modern, the nice thing about Venom is that he shares an 11 attack and an 18 defense.
You know,
So he's good. He's especially good standing next to Doc Ock, giving Doc Ock higher attack and giving a Doc Ock a defense bump before his tentacles give him another defense bump. So
can you ask that question again after Superior Foes of Spider-Man comes out?
again,
Yeah.
we're right on the cusp of a better.
You're asking
answer.
a lot of, like, couple months down the road questions.
Yeah, like we had the Batman family question. Like we're gonna get a ton of Batman in the next set. Let me build with those Batman. We got Sinister Syndicate coming out and the Superior Foes of Spider-Man. We're down to 11 in the modern age. We kind of keep the show in the modern age competitive meta. I guess I should start calling it the Modern Meta Lab.
Hey, Jason, what are your top 3 from X-Force?
Yeah, Jason, what do you think of your top 3 metal men?
All right, so, did you get all those? Hold on. I'll say it slower. Okay, you got it?
Yeah.
Write it down.
Jason, top 3 ecstatics of all time in clicks. Go.
Dupe, and dupe.
The joke was that there are only
Poop.
one of them isn't even really.
Derailed.
Oh my
They made an orphan back in the day. All right, so now that we're done screwing around, Obi-Wan Chris, who currently refers to himself as a different name, he asks, do you guys ever play with yourself? Wait. There's more. Hold on. If so, what are some ideas to make it more fun? My wife plays with me sometimes, but she doesn't really enjoy it as much as I do, and she gets frustrated when I try too hard. Anyway, I'm just looking for more ways to enjoy this fantastic hobby. Hey, ask for more vagueness in our questions. It's better. All right, so hold on. First he asks if we play with ourselves, and then he needs help playing with his wife. What show did we just start?
Journey, and then he just added innuendo on top of that.
Honestly, though, I run a channel called Married with Clicks for that specific reason. I'm married to a woman who plays Heroclix with me and enjoys it, even win or lose. So I'm not the person to talk to about this. Mike, have you talked your wife into playing?
No, she looks at the game, she listens to us. Like, she'll sit down here and play with her phone, and Tom and I will be gabbing about this stuff, and she just has no interest whatsoever. I've tried several times to get her into the game without powers, just base stats even, and she just doesn't give a crap. So no, but I don't really play by myself. I have a lot of opportunity to play with other people. Yeah. In terms of playing with the game, you should really be careful about how you phrase that question. Yeah. But yeah, the kid-friendly answer is that I judge at a venue once a week, and I end up playing most of the time. So there you go.
Tom?
I would be a prime candidate to play games against myself because I keep a very weird schedule that prevents me from playing with other people very often, with the exception of Mondays, where Mike and I try to get at least a game or two in before the cast, including at least one on camera when we can. Check out the pre-show game. That plug out of the way. I don't honestly find I've tried, and I don't really enjoy it. I find that the game is too much about trying to anticipate your opponent's strategy and work against it and strategize against somebody. I find when I know what the other person is thinking, what the other person has, it just takes all the fun out of the game. It feels like an exercise in rolling dice, and I don't really like just rolling dice. So I'm afraid I can't really be of very much help. If you enjoy it, then rock on, because again, whatever is most enjoyable for you in this game, it just doesn't really work for me, so I can't really contribute much.
Yeah.
You say me?
Yeah.
The team dynamic of bouncing ideas off another person is generally more useful than not. So there you go. I don't ever find it necessary because I have these fools, so practice sometimes.
Now, one of the things as far as playing with yourself goes, or playing the game by yourself, you could, if you want to get beyond the metagame and think about a fun way of doing it, create scenarios where you got to deal with something that's particularly challenging. Now, in the game of Heroclix, you could always go and just find a 10-pole figure, build the same number of points, and have it play on autopilot. A lot of them can. It was one of the ways you used to have to play against Galactus, because Galactus was basically on autopilot. The player who played him just rolled dice, really, and attacked everybody on the board when they first initially came out with it. So there's ideas like that. Or if you're trying to build yourself for the game and you don't have a play group to play with or regular practices you can go to, etc., I believe there's a few web apps out there that we don't endorse or specifically suggest, though they may. There's always the idea of playing with Skype with friends. That's a thing you can do as well. But create scenarios and just assume averages for a little bit, and then occasionally take an average away or something, or roll a dice and say average, not average, above average, and then roll your dice normally. It's a way of doing it, but honestly, this is a really hard game to play solo. This is a game you generally want to have friends to play with, but don't ignore the fact that sometimes those scenario packs that they sell come with solo scenarios in some cases too.
That's true.
And that is an option you can do. The Fear Itself ones did, and I believe the Green Lantern one did, or Light one did. Yeah. So that's an idea.
Mike has something to say.
Go ahead, Mike.
It's kind of a greater good answer. I suggest you probably get your HeroClix somewhere, and if they're not already running tournaments there, you could walk in and you could talk to them about ordering an OP kits, and if necessary, charging $1 for people to come in and actually play and actually set up an account on the WES, the WizKids event system, and start something up. Because what we really need in this community at large is more venues and more places that are playing it, especially here in Canada, actually. There needs to be a lot more interest, a lot more advertising, a lot more marketing surrounding it on the part of the individual, so word of mouth, etc. Get your friends playing if you can.
And if anybody, this is just, maybe it goes without saying, but let's say it anyway, if anybody watching this cast really likes coming up with solo scenarios, then post a comment down below so that there's a link to it, and people who are interested in it can go and find it. Because we don't do a lot of it, but I'm sure that that's out there. If you've got a really cool idea for a solo scenario, please share.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a world of social media. There's all kinds of ways you can just put a thing out there and find a link and put it there, and put that link, like Tom said, just put it down there. And people do read these comments every so often. I guess it's time to start. This is the year we gotta get more interaction down there. So yeah, if you have an idea for solo scenarios, share them down below. Be it some kind of blog or something that you read or write yourself. I mean, share it. And we'd like to hear some more ideas, because not everybody, like myself, has their wife to play with on a regular basis. Not everybody has a venue they regularly play at, though. If you get your clicks from a local venue, we definitely suggest trying to get them to get the game going. But yeah, just do her up and get the game spread out there, or share your ideas for bringing it to the home table. Sure. With that said, we do have another question, though it's a more akin to a rules question. And where did it go? Where's the notification for it? Boom. All right, yeah. So Jose Rodriguez asks, how was the first place team for 400 points themed Shield with Mr. Mix's Spitlick? Look no further than GW Bridge and the size of Josh Ernest's team. As GW Bridge, if you have four other characters on the exec board?
Him and 4 other characters share a keyword.
Then you can make it.
Oh, right, yeah, that's how to make it the 6-pack.
Yeah, and that's how that ends up working for Mr. Mix's Pitlick gains the keyword, and then becomes Shield Theme Team, and he goes, hey, all the way to the bank. What's that?
It's also a soldier.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And Jose Rodriguez also added on, praise Lord and Savior Exodia.
That's why you bring in Nick Fury. Nick Fury does have the ability to make mince of Exodia if he gets the chance, but that's about all.
Yeah, and that's why a ton of people are playing him.
Yeah.
Look, we talk about Nick Fury, he's good, and there's a reason people bring him in. Good players will play a good figure. So
he is nifty noodles.
Yep, indeed he is. Okay. So with that said, we're getting echoes. I'm wondering where's Chris. All right. I want to thank our sponsors, HC Realms. Check out their shop directly at realmsgaming.com, or click the shop button at hcrealms.com. On your way to the checkout, getting some cool Heroclix stuff. Use coupon code MARRIED for 10% off of your purchase. Also, we're brought to you in part by hcatlas.com. Go to hcatlas.com, $22 US a month, plus shipping and handling gets you a cool custom map every month, made in the awesome material, the same material that the ROC releases their maps in. And as well, we're brought to you in part by Majestic CCG. We mentioned them earlier, majesticccg.com/apex-insiders, a very cool source for premium web content that includes some authors or high-level players in the game, and me. So I'm there too, occasionally. And check that out. Really cool, awesome site, and they're really quick with these ROC results. So as to get a good idea for the competitive metagame. And, of course, if you want to support us directly, check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks and become a patron. Any value gets you access to our patron hangout, which we hold once a month. And with February around the horizon, I guess it's time to say that we're looking at a February 5th date for our patron hangout, unless things change. So you have until the end of the month to get in on that. And that's as low as $1 a month. We are getting really close, really close. We have earned enough back money in order to do a combination of our what's the word I'm looking for? Our practice night thing, and the first practice night that we're planning will be kind of held after the release of World's Finest, as the next big tournament we're doing is, the WizKids Open. So why not prepare with that with us, a related way. to say the least. But of course, that said, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Heroclix. Check out if there's any reward levels that you want to join in at, and we love your support. We do appreciate all the patrons we do have and all their support that they bring to us monthly. I want to thank, as always, Mike and Tom.
Hey.
And Jay for helping me out on the show. And as always, guys, we got to say our motto, as always, remember, when you're playing the game, you're trying to get better. That practice
Makes
your
Team.
better. Have a good night, everybody.